How do they do it? Why do they do it? Riding and crashing and riding and winning and always faster and faster and faster.
Well, welcome back everybody to With Anto MotoGP 2025. Well, today we're going to take a look at round 6 in the MotoGP, which is the French MotoGP. And the French GP is always known to dish up a little bit of different kind of conditions. And I don't know if anyone's been watching the media this week, but there's been some absolutely crazy weather in Paris. All sorts of hailstones and floods, and this has also gone across into Spain. So needless to say, before we start in too much detail, I think it's a chance to take and talk about the weather, because this weekend it's going to be cold. It's going to be 16 to 19 degrees air temperature. Probably put the track temperature, in its sort of high 30s or 40s. And this means a couple of things. This means not only is it the local round for Fabio Quartararo, but I think it's also going to help with tyre pressure. I mean, the pressure is on in MotoGP in 2025. We've seen penalties, we've seen crashes, and we've seen people having to change positions this year, drop behind riders to stop their pressures ballooning. And of course, it looks very likely that Márquez actually went down the road in the last round because he had a spike in tyre pressure. So that means a couple of things. It means that hopefully we can get a race without worrying about tyre pressure, which would be nice. And we can see the riders race to the best of their abilities and not worry about leading for too long. It's got to be one of the craziest seasons on record, whereby riders are being punished for leading the race and being punished for being out in the open. In the old days, if you got out in front, you just went and you were gone. So we saw earlier this week, actually last week now, the Jerez MotoGP test, and we've had some more rumours. The V4 Yamaha, is it on the way? I'd like to think so, but not for this weekend. And of course, they're playing their cards very close to their chest. It will only be available when it's quicker than the inline 4. But I want to propose something to you out there. What if Yamaha keeps winning? What a terrible problem to keep, not so much winning, but putting it on the podium. They might lose their concessions, so that would be something to see, and that would really be something that we'd have to stop and think about. Okay, what else? What else can we talk about before we look at some of the predictions and previous performances in MotoGP news? Well, the HRC rumour won't go away. The rumour that Acosta is going across to HRC is still there. It's always a good sign when the managers are denying that's going on. And Top Rack is sitting in World Superbike acting very confident. Didn't have such a good weekend on the BMW just recently. But that seems to be there. And of course, if you look at the test results, you had, Marc Márquez, quickest, obviously, let's go there. But second, Maverick Viñales. So we might talk about Viñales a little bit more. Batman. And Quartararo was third on the Yamaha, the ever-improving Yamaha. But of course, a lot of rubber on the track from the race weekend. And the tests on the Monday, they can be misleading. They can really look at what's really possibly give results that aren't really reflecting of true race pace. Okay, what else is the talk of the MotoGP paddock at the moment? Well, it's KTM for the wrong reasons. They've got to generate the 600 million euro to pay off the creditors. They seem to be struggling with that. I'm hearing that the factories stopped production of the bikes. Surprise, surprise, not enough parts. But these parts come from suppliers, and let's be real, if you're a supplier and you haven't been paid, well, you're going to stop supplying. I mean, that's kind of the thing. But the big KTM news we want to talk about, apart from Acosta, is that it's being reported that KTM have received 2 very strong bids for their 2 grid spots. I mean, remember that Tech 3, They own their own grid spots as an independent team. But this bid for KTM for what would be 27, when the new deals are all negotiated, is an interesting one. It also kind of poses the question, if you look at the Liberty media ownership coming on board, getting very close now, it's going to make a change in the marketing. And it's also going to make a change, in my view, to the appeal of the sport in America. North America in particular. We've got a round coming up in South America, in Rio, soon. So who are these bidders going to be? Now, it's been reported that Lewis Hamilton is not one of those bids, so perhaps we can rule that out. But KTM, look, that was great. They had 4 bikes in the top 10. They're looking like losing their star. And who are these bids for the grid spots? Perhaps if you have insight, you can drop it in the thoughts and comments below. Okay, so here on with Antone MotoGP 2025, I like to look back before I make predictions at the previous rounds and see exactly where and who ran in good positions previously. 2024, let's take a look. Jorge Martin from Marc Márquez on Gresini from Bagnaia. 4th was Bastianini, and 5th was Viñales. Now, we're talking about 5th place, but he's also ran up in 3rd in the sprint. So Batman might have something for us on the KTM. Alex Marquez ran around in 10th place. HRC didn't do much. Zarco and Marini 12th and 16th respectively. Quartararo didn't finish in the main race. Hometown hero, and Rins 15th. Of course, KTM, Acosta was another DNF. This week he's also gone in for surgery on the arm pump. So hopefully that's going to help him, even though he's on the full 2024 bike is what I'm reading. Binder ran around in 8th. Aprilia, I'm bringing up Aprilia. Obviously, Viñales was on the bike. As I said, 3rd in the sprint, 5th in the race. So this, I think, will be good for Agura. I think it's also worth looking back to 2023 because we're speaking about Aprilia. Well, Bezzecchi won the race, I should say, in 2023 from Jorge Martin and from a fast finishing Zarco. Traditionally, you get the bad weather, you get the on and off cold, wintry weather. But I'm bringing up Bezzecchi because if you base the performances that Aprilia did last year with Viñales, I think he's a chance. Quartararo ran around in 7th place and Binder was 2nd in the sprint. So very interesting to see what will happen this weekend. Like I said, we're heading towards coolish conditions. The weather forecast says not much rain, if any, but I think it's just going to be cold and cool there. If we're talking about Yamaha, that looks good for Yamaha, the home hero, Quartararo. In fact, look, Jack Miller was a winner in 2021 on the Pramac Ducati back then. And also Alex Marquez hasn't really done too much there. So where does that leave me with my prediction for the French MotoGP round 6 of the 2025 MotoGP year? I think, surprise, surprise, after his mistake in Jerez, Marc Márquez, I believe, will be too fast for everybody. I think you take away the tyre pressure issues, he'll be able to just get on the bike and ride the thing, be it if he can't lead from pole, whether he has to chase through the field. I believe he will win the race, and I believe he will win that race from Alex Marquez, who's having a great season, winner last weekend. And I believe the local hero, Fabio Quartararo, will put the Yamaha on the box for 3rd position. Also, I think favourably the VR46 boys will run well. I think D'Antonio will do very well. He's done well on that circuit in the past. And we also know that Morbidelli is firming and really starting to get to know the bike. He's coming back from a neck injury, I believe. He may have even cracked a vertebrae. It was a bit confusing because it was said concussion. But anyway, what do you think about this week? Do you think the HRC rumour has still got any merit? When will we see the V4? KTM, who's bidding for those grid spots? And will HRC be able to swoop in? I mean, Acosta becomes a very attractive proposition if you're not trying to buy out his rumoured €6 million a year contract. Okay, well, thanks for watching this week. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate everyone who's watched the last couple of episodes. Tell me what you think down below in the comments. And if you've liked this one, please give it a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel. But for now, see you soon.